And while the internet gives everyone the chance to be heard, it is also part of the reason why some people are making less money. No matter what, the traditional television will have to change if they want to survive. Getting information. Our parents used to read the newspaper every morning to know what happened the day before, and now we just have to look on social media to know what happened seconds before, and sometimes live on Facebook. We might think that we are getting more information, but what if we were wrong? The research carried out by think tank Demos proved that Twitter users are far more likely to interact with people who think like them and see publications that match their views. It means that if you like a politician, you will most likely see posts in favor of this politician, and you will miss the information on why they might not be that good. This is what we call an echo chamber. But once again, the internet is not only the problem, but it can also be the solution. Stop getting information on social media and try to read many different newspapers instead. It is important to read about different points of view because you can't really know what you're talking about without all the information. Communicating. Communication evolved in many different ways since the beginning of human history. Only a few people knew how to write, and now, most people in wealthy countries have the chance to go to school, and we can talk to someone from the other side of the world in less than a second. It became so easy to communicate that it has become more difficult. We expect people to answer quickly because they're always using their phones, and we are upset when they don't. Communicating online also leads to some problems like ghosting, when someone you're dating just stops answering your messages. According to Plenty of Fish, 78% of single millennials have been ghosted at least once. While most people think that this is really disrespectful, the ghosts just don't have the time to face hard situations like a breakup at any time of the day. No matter what, we think that communication is a great tool, and if we use it in the best way, it will also do great things. Reading. If you're a bookworm, you probably love the smell of a book. Going to the library was an incredible adventure where you could be transported to another universe simply by turning a page. But with the internet, we can now download whatever we want on our smartphone or our tablet. It has become so easy that people even started downloading them illegally to get a book for free. But what is worse is that most people are not reading at all. The Pew Research Center reported in 2014 that nearly a quarter of American adults had not read a single book in the past year. That number nearly tripled since 1978. But that doesn't mean that they're not reading at all. They're just reading differently on the internet. But we think that books should get the attention that they deserve. So whether you're reading them on paper or on a tablet, it is time to make them more popular again. Keeping in touch. Back in the days, if we wanted to know what our friend was up to, we had to call them. But since the invention of social media, all you have to do is log in and see what they're doing online. We might think that it is now easier to keep in touch with people, but it actually has a negative impact on our well-being. That's because it feels like social isolation, even if we are surrounded by people. We think that it will fulfill our needs by staying in contact with others, but it will actually just make us feel more lonely. Moreover, knowing too much about what our friends and partner are doing can make us feel more jealous. And we think that there is a great way to solve this problem. Instead of just looking at pictures of your friends on vacation, contact an old friend and ask them if they want to meet you at a restaurant to talk. That's the best way social media will really help you keep in touch with people you love. Playing. 2 decades ago, kids were playing outside all the time, and their parents kept asking them to come back home for dinner. But nowadays, our mom just keeps begging us to play outside for 30 minutes so we'll be a little more active. That's because it has become much easier to live in the virtual world. You can do whatever you want with no consequences and just try again if you fail. That's why people can even become addicted. According to psychologist Douglas Gentile, roughly 8.5% of children who play video games in the United States are addicted, and the numbers are similar across the world. The main problem is simply that they have access to it, because everyone has a video game system, or at least a computer or a smartphone at home. So after all, video games do have consequences in real life. Maybe it would be time for them to play outside instead. You can fix a broken bone, but getting rid of an addiction is more difficult than what they might think. Envying. When we were young, we used to envy the kid who had a better-looking bike at school, or who had the chance to go on vacation with their parents every year. But now, there are reasons to be envious everywhere, because people keep showing us what they're doing online. That's why Instagram is not only one of the most popular social media in the world, but also the worst social media for mental health, according to a recent survey. That's because it is associated with high levels of depression, anxiety, bullying, and fear of missing out. As reported by Time, people see that their friends are doing better things than them, which makes them feel worthless. But actually, everyone posts what they want to post on social media, and that's why we don't see that they are going through hard things too. But don't worry, you can still keep watching this video. YouTube received the highest marks for health and well-being, making it the only site that received a positive score. Being addicted. Most people used to think that you could only be addicted to things like cigarettes, sugar, or illegal substances, but you will be surprised to know that you're probably an addict too. That's because many people fear being separated from their mobile phone, which is called nomophobia, no mobile phone phobia. In the US, 65% of people sleep with their smartphones. As reported by Psychology Today, more than half never switch off their phone, and 1 in 5 people would rather go without shoes for a a week than being separated from their phones. This is how, in total, 66% of all adults suffer from nomophobia. That's crazy. And there is one way to get out of this situation. You can try to do it step by step by spending less and less time with your cell phone. If you feel anxious, you can also try to do something healthier that will make you feel better. And if you really can't stand being separated from your phone, the best thing to do would be to ask for the help of a professional. Saving lives. 2 decades ago, when someone needed help, they had to make sure that there was a phone nearby that they could use. And a century ago, you just had to hope that someone would be nearby to give you a hand. No matter what we think about the internet, we have to admit that it is one of the reasons why many people are still alive today. The internet is saving lives. One of the most important hunger relief organizations, the World Food Program, even makes the internet a top priority when a disaster strikes. That's because they need to be able to communicate with people in order to help them. The United Nations even declared that internet access should be a human right. Even we can use it in many situations. Being able to call 911 on your smartphone or simply ask for help online has already saved many lives. And simply being able to get more information about our health is sometimes what makes people change their life for the better or ask for the help of a professional. So whether you like the internet or not, you will thank it for being there when you're in trouble. Researching. When we had a question, we had to go to the library and open an encyclopedia to try to find an answer, and we didn't always find it. It was mostly difficult when we had to work on homework at school, but now everything is easier because we just have to ask Google. We even turned it into a verb by saying that we are Googling something. That's how the internet became the external hard drive for our memories. This is why people don't recall the information itself when they're asking themselves a question, but recall instead for where to access it, according to Sparrow and Wegner in 2011. So having access to so much information is also what makes us a little less smart. Did the internet change your life in any other way? Don't be shy to tell us how in the comments down below.